Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the resilience paradigm from survival to leadership. And honestly, we're going to completely dismantle pretty much everything you thought you knew about bouncing back from adversity. Did you know that recent industry surveys suggest nearly 80% of professionals are experiencing significant burnout on the job? That's wild, right? We are literally operating in a pressure cooker every single day. But the concepts we're unpacking today, they completely transform how professionals and leaders handle those exact high-pressure environments. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly why resilience isn't just some gritty survival tactic to help you scrape through a tough week. It's actually a calculated, strategic advantage that totally separates good managers from exceptional leaders. So, I want you to take a second and think about your last major setback at work. Let's paint a picture here. Imagine it's Thursday afternoon. You are exactly 2 days away from a massive product launch, and boom, your primary supplier suddenly backs out. How did you react? When the pressure spiked and those frantic emails started flying in, did you just grit your teeth, put your head down, and try to tough out the stress until Friday at 5 p.m.? For most of us, well, that's just the default mode. We've been completely conditioned to believe that resilience is basically just your capacity to absorb punishment and keep on walking. But as we'll see as we analyze our source material today, that definition is not only super outdated, it's actually actively holding you back and draining your potential.
Okay, let's immediately dismantle that myth. If you're just ignoring the weight on your shoulders, you're really just using a survival tactic. It's a completely passive response. You're just absorbing the blow, which, let's face it, is utterly exhausting and leaves you with way less energy for whatever challenge comes next. Now, contrast that with recovering constructively. This is where the magic actually happens. The reality we're unpacking today is that true resilience is all about how you actively recover and strategically respond to a situation. It's the ability to take that intense, potentially crushing pressure and forge it into a distinct leadership advantage. To get there, we need to initiate a complete paradigm shift regarding how we handle workplace pressure, which brings us to part one, redefining true resilience.
The absolute crucial point we have to internalize here is that resilience is responding constructively. True resilience requires an active, deliberate response, rather than just passively enduring the pain. Think of it kind of like this. It's the difference between letting a massive storm batter your house while you just hide down in the basement versus actively going outside before the storm even hits to board up the windows, reinforce the roof, and set up barrels to channel that rainwater for your garden. You see, you aren't just surviving a chaotic environment. You're actively engaging with it in a way that builds you back up and prepares you for absolutely whatever comes next. Let's move right along to our second core concept, focusing on the controllables. This is all about where we should actually be directing our mental energy on a daily basis. Now here is the absolute golden rule of resilience. Your focus must remain entirely on what you can control. Controllables are the specific elements of any high-stress situation that you can directly influence. We're talking about your attitude, your preparation, your next email, or your direct response to a frustrated client. Imagine a sales manager just losing sleep and obsessing over global inflation rates, something they literally cannot change. Instead of focusing their energy on coaching their team on how to pitch effectively in a tough economy, it just makes no sense. If you can't directly move the needle on it, it flat out does not belong in your circle of focus. Ask yourself right now, where is your energy going? Ideally, roughly 80% of your mental focus should be poured directly into those controllables. Your daily habits, your team's immediate pipeline, your strategy. If you're spending 20% or more of your time agonizing over uncontrollables, like worrying about macroeconomic trends or a colleague's unpredictable mood or decisions made miles above your pay grade, you are throwing away energy. That wasted energy acts exactly like a leak in a ship. It doesn't just slow you down, it actively deepens your stress, taking on water and threatening to sink you entirely. Your goal is to maximize that constructive energy by totally starving those uncontrollables of your attention. Once we're focusing our energy in the right place, this brings us to a really profound psychological pivot. Part 3, treating setbacks as data. I really want to let this sink in for a moment. Setbacks are data. They should be treated as purely objective information, rather than some reflection of your personal identity or your self-worth. Let's say you launch a brand new marketing campaign and it completely flops. Well, our human instinct is to immediately internalize it, right? The emotion tells us, I'm a terrible marketer, I have no idea what I'm doing. But resilient leaders, they look at the exact same situation and think, okay, the conversion rate on the landing page dropped by 15%, the headline clearly didn't resonate, let's A/B test a new approach.
And this is exactly how you shift from applying emotional labels to extracting clinical lessons. By actively removing your ego from the equation, you successfully turn stressful, painful challenges into actionable intelligence. You aren't walking around carrying a heavy negative label like incompetent or believing you're just somehow cursed by the universe. Instead, you possess a highly specific blueprint of what not to do next time. You're learning, you're adapting, and you are responding constructively. So, having redefined how we view our setbacks, we now have to look at the daily mechanics. How do we actually protect the vital energy we need to maintain this mindset? That brings us to part 4, protecting your energy. There are 3 exact tactical steps you simply must take to protect your energy and ensure true sustainability in high-pressure environments. First up, clear priorities. You have to be absolutely ruthless about knowing exactly what matters most so you don't dilute your focus on meaningless busy work. Second, firm boundaries. You must be able to say no to protect those priorities. In a corporate setting, a firm boundary might look like literally turning off your Slack and email notifications at 7 p.m. sharp, communicating super clearly that you are offline. And third, deliberate recovery. Now, this isn't just doom scrolling on your phone on the couch. This is actively resting. It means prioritizing sleep, getting exercise, and fully disconnecting so you are genuinely recharging those mental and physical batteries for whatever comes tomorrow. So why does this matter so much? Well, because the reality is, without mastering these specific boundaries and committing fiercely to your own deliberate recovery, managing those controllables we talked about earlier becomes physically and mentally impossible. Your body will simply flood with cortisol, decision fatigue is going to set in hard, and you will burn out. Sustainability requires protection. You literally cannot be a resilient professional if your tank is constantly running on empty. Protecting your energy is not some nice-to-have luxury. It is a foundational requirement for high performance. Now let's explore the really powerful ripple effect that happens when this internal mastery translates into external leadership. This is our final chapter, becoming the team's anchor.
When you protect your energy, when you focus strictly on controllables, and when you view your setbacks purely as data, you transform into the anchor. In a high-pressure storm, let's say a massive structural reorganization or some sudden budget cut, a team will naturally look to their leader. Emotions in a group setting are highly contagious. If the leader is panicked, trust me, the team panics. But if you've cultivated the traits of an anchor, you provide the exact calm needed to stabilize everyone's emotions. You become that grounding force that guides the collective strength of the entire group.
And the transformation this brings to a team's dynamic is just drastic. Let's compare 2 teams hitting the exact same crisis. Without an anchor, Team A experiences adversity as pure panic. People point fingers, their stress mounts, and they burn incredible amounts of wasted energy just spinning their wheels. Now look at Team B. With an anchor mindset at the helm, that exact same adversity actually stabilizes emotions. The team takes a beat, they pause, they extract actionable lessons from the setback, and they utilize their guided strength to calmly overcome the obstacle. The external situation didn't change one bit, but the constructive response changed absolutely everything about the outcome. So, the crucial takeaway from our entire analysis today is this: resilience is a leadership advantage rather than a survival tactic. Mastering your energy, shifting your mindset to view those setbacks as data, and fiercely protecting your boundaries. That is what elevates resilience from a gritty, painful chore into your single greatest tool. It's what allows you to thrive and to help your team thrive when everyone else is just frantically trying to keep their heads above water. As we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with a thought to carry into your week. Think about the professional challenges you know are coming. When that next inevitable setback hits, and it will, how are you going to respond? Are you going to leak your precious energy just trying to survive the uncontrollables? Or will you look at the data, establish your boundaries, and choose to become the anchor? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.